excited to be on here talking to you guys. My name is Cheyenne. If you know me from Instagram, I go by Naturally Elementary. I am a second year teacher and I teach second grade, and this is Leo. This is our class pet, but he's like my favorite thing in the whole world, so you will definitely see him a lot in my videos because he's like the Okay, so in this video, I'm going to share a few things. I'm going to share what exactly math rotations is. I'm going to share the structure of how I work it in my classroom. I'm going to show you how to plan, and I'm also going to show you and share some management tips slash my small group area, because small group instruction is a massive part of this rotation. And I wanted to show you some of the things that I keep in my math rotation cart that have been so helpful in teaching this year. If I'm looking to the side a lot, it's because I have notes of everything that I want to share with you guys, because I'm super nervous if you can't tell. And if I use my hands a lot, it's because I'm nervous. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just jump right into it. And I wanted to start with sharing with you guys what exactly math rotations is. So the typical way that we teach math is just whole group. And that's exactly what I did last year with my first graders, and I did not like it. I am a looping teacher, so I have a whole group of students, and I start with them in first grade and I teach them through the entire year. But then the next year I have that same group of students, but I'm teaching second grade. So this was actually like the best way for me to experience this whole math rotation thing, because I had the same students and I was really able to plan a lot over the summer because I already knew what my kids were like and I already knew what they needed. So that was great. So math rotations, to me, in my eyes, it's like the daily 5 of math. Like the way that you would teach daily 5 for reading is really similar to the way math rotations works. So I actually have a little visual for you guys. So there is an acronym for math, and this is what the students rotate throughout your math rotation time. So M stands for meet with the teacher, A stands for at your seat, T is technology, and H is hands-on. So each kid is going to go through each one of these centers every single day. And I split my kiddos up into 4 different groups, and they're based on ability level, and that way each group goes through each one of these rotations within my time. Now, I personally only have about 45 to 50 minutes for my math block, so this timing and everything can definitely be altered based on how much time you have for your math block. But for me, I start with that 5-minute tops whole group lesson, just a review of the skill that we're either learning or introducing the new concept. And then I go into math rotations right away. And we do 10-minute rotations. So that's the extra 40 minutes of my 45-minute block. And then I kind of end it there. Sometimes we'll come back together and we'll kind of reflect and talk about, what went well with our lesson or what didn't go well, what we felt like we were learning or what we felt like we still needed help with, and that helps too every now and then. But also I feel like the small group time is really that time for me and my students to reflect as well. So I don't usually do a reflection at the end. So the way I set it up is we do that 5 minutes, we do 40 minutes of rotation time where I'm rotating through 4 different groups of students, and they are rotating through the other 3 centers that they have to get through. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's jump into what each center is kind of made up of and what I do for planning with it. So I actually have a whole binder up on my TPT store all about math rotations, and this is one of the planning sheets that's included in there, and I love this planning sheet. This one has helped me so much this year. So if you look at it, there is every day of the week, and then there's every center. And so I plug in exactly what I'm going to be doing at my table with my students and exactly what they're going to be doing at their seat when they're at that rotation, and then what we're doing for technology for the week and hands-on for the week. And I always keep these the same all week, and sometimes for more than 1 week, and that makes my planning a lot simpler because the only thing I'm really planning is what I'm doing at my table, which is awesome. Now I'm going to kind of jump in and do some advice for planning. My biggest piece of advice for planning is don't overdo it and use what you already have. Most teachers already have a math curriculum, and I use that for my planning, for doing like 90% of my planning. I do not try to reinvent the wheel because there's just no need to. There's already the resources and there's already the lessons, and I literally pull from my curriculum what I'm supposed to be doing whole group, and I put that into my small group instruction time. And with that, I can also kind of differentiate based on where my groups are. So I can kind of pull it back for my kiddos who need reteaching, and we can go over the example that I already did on the board before we try, doing this on our own. We use a lot of manipulatives. I help a lot. We're really structured with my lowest group. With my middle two groups, because like I said, I do ability group. So my middle two groups are kind of my kiddos who are pretty much on grade level. We go through the lesson that my curriculum provides, and we will do one example together at small group, and then it's kind of independent. Okay, here's the problem I want you to do. I want you to solve. Show me thumbs up when you're done. And we kind of just go through that, and it just gives like this very specific small group instruction where I'm right there with them and I can see exactly what they need. If they're making a mistake, I can redirect them right away, and I can't say enough good things about my small group time with my kiddos. And then for my highest group, that's my group that needs a challenge. So we'll usually use whatever they're supposed to be doing whole group as like a really quick warm up, and then I will push them and challenge them with harder numbers, different equations, all kinds of different things. So yeah, that's kind of how I separate and differentiate for at my table. And like I said, I use my curriculum. I'm not coming up with these lessons on my own because that would just be craziness. That would be way too much. And then also I'm using my curriculum for their at their seat work as well. They have a math book, which most schools do provide student workbooks, and so there's always a corresponding page in their workbook that they're supposed to be doing with a lesson, and so that's exactly what I use for at their seat. They get their math book and they do the corresponding page, and that's that. Like, so simple. I don't have to do anything. For technology, I'm going to leave a list of different things that you guys can use for technology down below, but my by far favorite thing for my kiddos to do during their technology rotation is to get on a Chromebook and go onto extramath.org, and that'll be in my list. But Extra Math is great for fact fluency. It's awesome for where my kiddos at. It does level them, so it will challenge my kiddos who are higher. It'll give my kiddos who are lower different problems and fact fluency that they need. So I really like Extra Math, but there's a few other websites and there's a few other apps I use on my classroom iPads for technology as well. And then the last section is hands-on. Now this is when we're doing task cards, or we're walking the room, or we're doing different centers or math games, or we're just doing flashcards with a partner. There's so many different things you can do for hands-on. And I am also going to leave a list of things down below that I do with my kiddos for hands-on. I try to keep it really simple because I don't want anything that's going to take a lot of time for them. And I try to keep it so that whatever they're doing for hands-on will last the entire week. Like, they won't get bored of it. It's challenging enough that it's going to take their whole time, and it's not going to be too easy for them, and it's not going to let them get naughty. But let me show you what I have right now. So we're doing campfire math as our hands-on activity right now, actually. And so I'll show you the recording page. I just made this up. It's literally task cards around the room. This was something I had made for our campfire day that we were doing last week, and we just didn't get to it. So instead of just wasting what I had already done, so here's the recording sheet. There's 20 boxes because I've got 20 task cards up around the room, and they are doing triple digit addition because that is one of the biggest pieces of this unit that we're doing. So I literally have them scattered around the room. Like, here's a few problems, and then they'll move over this way. And there's a few problems taped here and some here, and there's some over on my whiteboard on my back table, and they're just all over the place. So my kiddos keep their recording sheet in a folder that I have for unfinished work in their desks, and then they get a clipboard and they just take this and their pencil and they walk around the room and they're solving their problems for hands-on. And it's so simple. And I like that there's 20 problems because they can do 5 a day, and then that will last my entire week, which I love. Okay, I do want to share this resource because I just purchased this on the TPT sale. It's made by Simply Creative Teaching, and I'm so excited. It's 1st and 2nd grade differentiated math center bundles, and where do I have it? I'm so excited because it's literally going to last me all year next year, and it's just all kinds of really fun center ideas that I'm going to be using for hands-on. So I'm actually in the process of getting these printed out this year so that I can have them ready to go for next year, and I'm gonna take some time this summer to kind of plan out when we're gonna use each one. Like, there's a winter one, so obviously we'll use those in the winter time. I think we're gonna start with these tasty ones. They're so cute, you guys. Like, look how cute this is. Oh my gosh. She's adorable. I'm gonna link her TPT store if you are interested in this product because it's so cute. Like, how fun are these graphics? And she literally goes through all the skills that I teach within 1st and 2nd grade. So this is awesome. Like, they're gonna have to add different money amounts. This would have been perfect for this unit I'm actually doing right now because we're literally doing that. And there's recording sheets for everything. There's some subtraction, addition, mixed things. There's graphing, and like, this is just one thing. So we probably will start the year with something like that. And then there's some for fall. So a few months into the year, we'll use the fall ones. And I just like can't get over how cute it is. Time, place value, like just partner houses. These will be great for the beginning of 1st grade. I'm so excited. I don't think I can say so excited anymore. Holly Jolly is a cute one. Monster Mash, there's a spring one. So that product comes with literally all of these, and there's so many different games within each center bundle. I'm just like, I can't even get over it. I'm so excited. So that is a really, really great resource for hands-on activities, but there's literally so many different sellers on here who do it for different grade levels. I believe she only has this for 1st and 2nd grade, so if you're a 1st and 2nd grade teacher, this would be great, but if not, definitely just like put in math centers in your browser up here and you will find so many different things. Okay, so next I kind of just wanted to show you guys my planning binder. Now everything in here is from my planning binder on TPT. I'm going to go through and show you some of the different planning sheets that there are, but I'll also kind of break it down and show you what ended up working really well for me this year. When you open up my binder, oops, there is this page, which I'm flipping really quickly because it's got my student names on it, but it's a page that I have in a sleeve protector so that I can write down the different groups that I have for my math rotations. And then it's really easy to change out for each unit because some kiddos, you know, are really good at one skill and not at another, and so I can kind of move my groups around based on their ability. But then the first thing I have is all of these week at a glance sheets, and this is kind of where I do my whole planning for the week. And like I already showed you guys, I plan out my small group, what they're doing at their seat for each day, what we're doing for technology that week, and hands-on. And that's great. And this has actually ended up working the best for me this year, but I also have a tab for each one of my groups. And I go kind of highest to lowest. So group 1 is like my lowest group. Group 2 is my middle, or group 2 and 3 are my middle groups. Group 4 is my highest group. And then inside I've got different plans as well. So this would be like a small group lesson plan that I could do for the group. But I've also got like so many different plans. And what I found was that with second grade, I really didn't have to be, you know, really focused on the strategy and the focus skill and the lesson and the vocabulary for each lesson, just because we're doing pretty good here in second grade. But first grade, I feel like I'm gonna have to be really specific about how I spend my 10 minutes with my kiddos. So I'll probably start using these lesson plans next year, where I really plan out, okay, what am I doing and what is the strategy we're gonna use? What kind of manipulatives do I need? All kinds of different things. And there's just lots of planning sheets like this in my bundle or binder for math rotation. So there's all kinds of different ones. There's lots of week at a glances. There's lots of like lesson plans that you can use for breaking it down. This is what I have in that page protector sleeve, and I just printed it on Astor Brights because I'm extra like that. And then I just write the names of my kiddos on top in each group. Here's another one, another week at a glance. You can plan out exactly what you're doing with each individual group for at your table work for the whole week. This is the one that I use a lot. And that is all my little lesson plans in there. So if you are interested in these are in my TPT store. I will leave a link below. It also comes with some fun covers for your binder so that you can kind of have a fun cover on top. I just got a binder from Target, cute one that I liked, and worked with it. And these are actually file folders from Target that I just 3-hole punched to stick in there, because then that way it's also easy to like just pull this out if I want to, and it's got all that group's small group plans, and if I needed to print anything for that specific group, I can just throw it in here as well. So I really liked that system and setup for this year. Also, with that binder, I do plan on doing a pretty big update this summer, adding some different planning sheets, kind of fine-tuning the ones that are already in there, just based on what I've learned this year. I made all those planning sheets at the beginning of the year when I was like trying to figure it all out and seeing what would help me plan. And so I will be doing an update and adding some more information into my planning binder, just kind of more of like an explanation of what I do and why I would use those different sheets. And yeah, so be on the lookout for that. But I'm over here, I'm in my small group little area, and I wanted to go through my math cart with you guys. I have a cart for reading and a cart for math, so that I have all kinds of different resources for my small group instruction. So I'm going to turn you guys around and I'm going to show you everything that's in my cart right now and the things that I like to use on a daily basis. All right. I'm just noticing that there's some dead dandelions that my kiddos have gotten for me. Okay, so this is like probably my biggest little basket of goodies. So let's go ahead and bring this out, because this has some really fun things that are really inexpensive that you can pick up over the summertime. So some of the things I keep in here are different flashcards. The money and the telling time flashcards are from the Target dollar section. They were literally $1, but I really liked these for my higher group because they're actually pretty tricky. Trickier than you would think. So I picked those up for my higher groups, and it's just good review, even if I just do it as a quick warm-up, you know, hand out some of the flashcards, have them go through them. It just gets them to start thinking, and it does that spiral review, even if I'm not teaching a unit on telling time and a unit on money at the time that I'm using them. So I really like those. I've got some different little task cards in here as well. These are all from different sellers. I'll have to look them up and put them down below, but I just found some task cards on TPT. These ones were story problems. This one is transformations. Ooh, this is a math toolkit product that I have not actually put together yet, but I have kept it over here because I want to. I've got it printed out and everything, so I'll probably put these together for next year. But it's got a cute little cover. And then these were some of the things I wanted to make sure that I kept in them. One of them is a place value chart. So I've got that kind of saved. I have, do you see all those containers in the corner? Those are all those little like photo box containers that you can get at Michael's, and I am planning on doing some kind of math toolkit next year or over the summer. Sorry, I'm like all over the place. Okay, and then these are also really fun. These are kind of funner for my lower groups. Also got these from the Target dollar section. These were counting money puzzle cards where they had to connect the value and then the coins. That was really cute. Telling time cards. I always have index cards. I've actually got a ton of them already open, but a little container of index cards because we always seem to need them. And then this was something I made when we were doing story problems. Cubes is not my idea. It's something you can find on Pinterest, but I just made these little cards and laminated them to remind my kiddos of what the steps were for story problems. And so I keep those in there. Whenever we have a story problem, I just throw these out and put them in front of the kiddos so that they can remember what to do. And then these, probably the biggest hit ever. My kiddos love these. Okay, so these are little containers from the dollar store. You can get them for like a pack of 2 for $1, a pack of 3 for $1. They're really hard to find. I don't have a whole lot because I couldn't find them. But I just keep these little Target dollar section erasers in here, and we use these as manipulatives, as counters. The kids like die when I throw a little box of these in front of them. They love that. Okay, some more things that are in my cart. These are from my curriculum, but they're just different place value cards that I use in small group a lot. I also keep little sentence strips for vocabulary every now and then. If we come to a word that I need them to really know, then I'll write it on a little sentence strip and I'll throw it up on my board behind me. And then down here, I've got a container of money, all the coins. And I've got some other fun little things. I've got, these are also from the Target dollar section. I feel like I totally found a lot of things for this at the Target dollar section, and I plan on looking again this summer because they always have really great things before the beginning of the school year. So these are little dry erase, little like fact fluency books, and so the kiddos can grab a dry erase marker and they can just go on with them. And this one's all about multiplication. This one was addition, and I ended up cutting it apart because I wanted my kiddos to be able to use them. And actually, something else I did with those was I put them in these little dry erase sleeves so that it was just in there, and then they could write on top of it because it was in the sleeve. These are just different things that I've collected, little games that we've played throughout the year. Those are triple digit numbers. I'm pretty sure we just like grabbed 2, added them together, grabbed 2, subtracted. This was when we did 3D shapes, so I've got all those because I ended up making these and I just didn't want to throw them away because I know I'm gonna have to use them again next year, so I just keep a little bucket with my 3D shapes in them. These are dry erase boards. These ones were not really great. As you can see, they're like disgusting right now. These were from the Target dollar section. Don't really recommend them because they're like cardboard material and they just didn't hold up. So I do have those, but I've also got other math whiteboards that we use. And then just some extra of these sleeves for whenever I need those. This little container I got from IKEA. I have a few of them, but this is just great for holding dry erase markers. For if my kiddo forgets one, I throw some highlighters in there for me to highlight on problems and stuff. I've got just all kinds of little utensils in there that I just throw on the cart so that they're really easy and ready for me to use. And then on the bottom is just more curriculum stuff. So my curriculum comes with a little center, some center ideas, so you can just flip these and there's little center games on there, and then also with some differentiated cards. So each unit has different cards for different levels of kiddos. So like I said, don't feel like you don't have the resources for this type of instruction. Like, there's so much that comes with curriculum. Use it. I love it. And that is everything that's in my math cart right now. So as for some tips with like small group, just as it is, not even like math rotations, just with small group instruction, I have a few little tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way that really help with keeping your kiddos focused when they're in group, keeping them on track, and making sure that they're really working their hardest for those 10 minutes or 15 minutes or however long they're actually sitting there with you. One of the biggest ones, I picked this up from the teacher that I worked with during my student teaching, who I actually am on her team now. So she's like one of my best friends. But she would put a Skittle in front of every kiddo at her small group table. And if they made it through the entire group without interrupting her, staying focused, doing what they were supposed to be doing, then they got to take the Skittle. But if they were like, if they interrupted her or whatever, she would just pull the Skittle away. So like literally lay a Skittle out in front of each one of your kiddos, and if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, then you don't ever have to take it away, and they get one Skittle when they leave your group. And if they're being naughty, you can just pull that Skittle away, and oh my gosh, it switches. There's a switch in them, and they're little angels because they want that Skittle so bad. So that's a really big tip. I do that for math and for reading, so my kiddos get 2 Skittles a day. And then let's see, what else do I keep in here? I just keep some little things. I use a bell when I'm transitioning. So when I'm done with one of my groups, I'll tell them, okay, you're on to your next rotation. Goodbye. And I ring my little bell, and the entire class turns around and they look at me. Another tip I picked up from my teacher who I worked with my student teaching, she used a bell as well. And then they know right away, okay, it's time to transition. I'm going to get up. I'm going to figure out what I need to do next. I'm going to come to group. I'm going to go get my Chromebook, whatever it is. But the little ding of the bell works really nicely. Really nice to have handy. And then I also really like this. This is an assessment little guide by Amy Grosbeck, and it's just all kinds of different formative assessment activities you can do, really quick little things to assess where your kiddos are at. So I will grab this and look through them sometimes, and we'll do these in small group. It doesn't even have to be whole group. So I really like that as well. So those are just a few little things and tips that I like to keep back here that help me manage my kiddos at my group, but also my kiddos out in my classroom who are supposed to be doing independent work. Also, I like to keep my groups hung up behind me at my small group table. That way, whenever I'm switching and rotating, I can kind of just flip back really quick and look. I can also like look in my binder, but I don't always like to have my binder out because I just feel like it takes up a lot of like my teaching space. So I'll usually just pull out my planning sheet, and then I've got my groups posted, and that way my kiddos can also remember which group they're in, and that helps a lot with just management. And then I don't have the question, which group am I in this week? Which group am I in right now? I can just say, look at the board. And I usually keep a rotation schedule up there too. That's that paper I was just showing you guys with all the different centers and then my different kiddos. So this is actually in a PowerPoint up on my board the entire rotation time. So that way when I'm like, okay, we're on rotation 3, switch, they know exactly where to go. They know their groups and they know what they should be working on next. So I feel like I'm kind of moving into management tips and tips for keeping this working really seamlessly and smoothly. And one thing that I decided, or I found that I needed, was some place for my kiddos to see exactly what they were supposed to do for each rotation. So I made this little grid. It's literally made out of washi tape, and I posted it on my whiteboard, and it tells them what to bring with them when they come for group with me. So this week they need a whiteboard and their dry erase marker. It tells them exactly which page they should be doing in their book for at their seat. It reminds them what they're doing for technology. This week we were doing the iPad apps, and then it also tells them what activity they're doing for hands-on. So that's the campfire math. And that's just a really nice visual because I made it pretty big, and it's right up there at the front of my room so that I don't ever have to answer that question again either. I explain it one time right after my whole group instruction, and then it's on them. If they don't know it, they look at the board. Okay, y'all, so just my last few little bits of like advice and tips with math rotations. My biggest one, you guys, is just keep it simple. Don't feel like you have to do these crazy fun activities for every little center and that you have to completely plan out, you know, your entire script for your small group. Just keep it simple and use what you already have. Use that curriculum that your district provides you with, because you're using that curriculum for a reason, and there's so many good resources within that. So just use it. It's gonna make your life so much easier. It gives you exactly what to do for your small group. It tells your kiddos what they should be doing at their seat, and really the only thing on you is technology and hands-on. My second piece of advice would be to just give yourself grace with it and to let it take time. Just like Daily 5, just like anything where we're teaching our kiddos to do something independently, it's gonna take time, and let it have its time. The beginning of the year is gonna be a little bit crazy with it. I would just plan on that and just be okay with that, and maybe you just practice, you know, a few times before you actually start teaching them real curriculum and real materials in the small group instruction time. But just know that it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some practice, but your kiddos are going to rise to it. And there's a lot of independent work with this, but there's also that amazing time where you get to just work one-on-one with those kiddos every single day. Like, I can't even tell you how much I know about my kids, and I know exactly where they're at because I have that time. So give it time to work itself out. Have grace with it. It's going to be great. You're gonna love it. Your kiddos are gonna grow so much. Like, I've seen a lot of growth in my kiddos this year. I feel like I know them better. I know my kiddos just so much more. I feel like during parent-teacher conferences, this is something that's really nice to be able to tell them, because you're working one-on-one with their kid every single day, and you actually really know that kiddo. I felt like last year I struggled a lot with that, with like, I think your kiddo's, you know, keeping up with me in my whole group instruction, but like, it gave me a lot of information about each one of my kids. So I really enjoy this teaching. Okay, you guys, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to get out of here, but I just wanted to say, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, leave them down below. I would love to answer them. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to be able to see when I'm posting new videos. I plan on doing quite a few before the school ends, and then maybe even some teacher summer vlogs, I don't know. But subscribe so that you can get notified whenever I post a video. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, go ahead and find me there. I'm Naturally Elementary, and I would love to see your sweet face there. Okay, bye.